Hi there, this is Ranjit from tech2buzz.com, and today we'll be doing the full review of this Android phone, and the model name of this phone is Karbonn A9. Karbon is a local Indian manufacturer that manufactures mobile phone, and this is an Android phone by Karbon, and it's known as the A9. And this phone sports a dual SIM. Before further going into the review, I want to thank Faisal Communications for providing this unit for review. And before the review, let me quickly give you a physical overview of the phone. And on the top, we have a 3.5 mm headphone jack and this power on off button. And on this side, actually, here we have nothing but just this micro USB slot that will be used for charging the phone. We have a microphone pinhole over here, and we also have a small indent over here using which you can pry open this back cover. And on this side again, here we have nothing, and here we have just the volume rocker. And on the back we have this plastic cover, and we have this 5 megapixel autofocus camera, LED flash, and this is for the speaker grill, and it says Karbon over here. And this is actually plastic cover body. And on if you move towards the front side, it's just a slab of glass, but the build quality, I would say, is okay. The phone looks good, but if you depress this back cover a bit, you get a slight creaking noise. So I would say overall it is okay, but I don't like this little bit of creaking noise when you push the back cover. It's plasticky and it could have been a better build quality. And moving towards the front, we have a front VGA camera, and we also have an ambient light sensor, proximity sensor, and this nice earpiece grill. And I'm glad to say that the audio quality provided by this phone with voice calls is excellent. And we have this 3.8-inch screen which has a resolution of 400 by 800 pixels, and we also get these 4 touch type capacitive buttons at the bottom. And the first one is for the home, this is for the menu, back, and this is for the search. Again, it is flush actually, so you might accidentally click on this because it is flush with the screen. Let me just open up the back cover. We have an indent over here. We can pry out that and open the back cover. And the back cover is made up of plastic, but it is thick plastic, not very flexible. And we do get 2 SIMs, and these are GSM Sims that can go in this, SIM 1 and the SIM 2. And the battery provided by Karbon is a 1600 milliampere battery, and that should last the phone for quite some time. And let me put back the back cover now. And actually I like the color scheme. It's white on black, so it looks pretty decent, I would say. This is the lock screen for the phone, and we can have 2 SIMs as I told. Let me just quickly unlock the same, and it's running off Android version 2.3. and let me show you the version now. Let's go to settings, about the phone, and it says that it's running on the Android version 2.3.6, and this model is also known as A9. And as I have told you earlier, this phone is a dual SIM phone, and I have 2 SIMs inserted right now, but you can actually disable any SIM if you would like, so that's pretty nice. The phone also sports a 1 gigahertz processor. Again, I found it to be responsive, but there is a slight tinge of lagginess if you notice with the phone. It's not silky smooth, but again, in normal operations you won't find it to be laggy. There is a slight lag if you notice, as you can see, but again, that's okay because it's a budget phone. Now I've connected to the Wi-Fi, and let us open the web browser of the same. Generally the apps load pretty quickly on the phone, so that's not an issue. Also, the keyboard, I would say, is pretty roomy and it's very easy to type. Let us go to tech2buzz.com. And if you noticed, it loaded the site pretty quickly. Again, it's not the quickest, I would say, but it loads it fine. Now let me open one of the stories. Let us open this Asus RT N66U story, and let's go in this orientation. And if you notice, it does this animation when you move from a landscape to portrait or something like that. It does that. It's gimmicky, but it does that. And I will just play this flash video, and let's see how well it plays.
Hi there, this is Ranjit from tech2bus.com,
And the speakerphone, if you notice, is pretty loud, and it does play flash video, but at times it stutters a little bit. I would say you can play the flash video, but I would say just pause the video for a few seconds and let it load the video, then you switch it on, then it will play the flash videos. So that's the flash video, and again we see that animation. And now let's go to Engadget website, and it'll load the mobile version of the same. And again, if you notice, it loaded it so fast. I find the touch to be not that responsive. Sometimes it does not register the touch as quickly as I would like. Now let's go to the desktop version of Engadget. I'll just click the desktop, and it's loading the full website. And again, as you notice, there's a little bit of jerking around. It's not as smooth as you have we expect, but again, it's not a dual core phone, it's a single core 1 GHz processor. So with very long web pages, you might need to wait for a while until you do the pinch to zoom or etc., because again, as you can see, there's a little bit of lagginess around. And Karbon did not mention the amount of RAM that this phone has, but I am suspecting that it's just 512 MB, because with long web pages we are getting this jerky motion. Pinch to zoom is okay, I would say, not an issue, but again there is a slight lag, if you can see, but nothing that it is totally unusable. There is a lag, I would say. And again, I notice a little bit con also. One is that the touch sensitivity is a little bit off, I would say. Sometimes it won't register your touch very well. Again, as you can see, I'm doing pinch to zoom, but it is struggling to render the page back. So regarding the browsing, I would say it's a hit or a miss. With very heavy web pages, the browsing won't be very smooth. So let's get out of the browser, and let me talk a little bit about media playback. Let me take you to the gallery, and I tested this phone with a couple of videos actually, and I found the results to be mixed. It's not that great, I would say. With the videos encoded in 1080p and 720p, they could not play with the default the application. I had to download this MX player, but I would highly suggest that you restrict the video playback to 480p videos, because even with many of the 720p videos, the motion was very jerky, and the voice was not syncing with the video. It could play a few of those 720p videos, but most of them had a problem. So I would say that video playback is smooth up to 480p. Now regarding the UI, Karbon did not modify it a lot. It is not exactly the stock Android, but very similar to the stock Android experience. That's the gingerbread. They did modify a few things, and I think so they did a good job. We have this tray over here, using which you can quickly toggle between wireless data, GPS, etc., and that I would say is a pretty good thing. They did not modify it very much, and you get actually 5 home screens, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and whenever you hit this home button, it will take you back to the center home screen, and if you depress this home button, it will show you the recent apps. Also, as this phone is a dual SIM phone, you can actually select between the SIM which you want to dial. For example, if you dial the number and press this, it will dial with the SIM number 1, and this, if you press this number 2, it will dial with the SIM number 2. So that also works pretty fine. I tested it with 2 SIMs and it worked fine, so that's not an issue. And moving towards the battery life, this phone comes with a 1600 milliampere battery, and I would found that battery to be okay, not spectacular, I would say. With two sims enabled, it will decrease your battery life by a couple of hours, but if you're just using a single sim, it should last you for one full working day without issues. Again, let me invoke this Temple Run game, and I want to show you the screen sensitivity. I'm not very happy with the screen sensitivity because it sometimes does not register what you say our touch. I'm just going to hit play. And as you noticed, I hit it, but it did not register my touch as I would have expected. It is okay. You will get used to it, but it is not as smooth as the other phones that I have seen. So I won't say it's bad, but the touch sensitivity is not the best. Again, as I had earlier told you, there is a slight visible lag in the UI also, and I don't know if this phone will get the ICS update. I think because Karbon hasn't mentioned anything about the same. Now let us load this Angry Birds. I had downloaded it somewhere. Now before that, let me show you the storage. Let's go to storage. Where is storage here? You get to add a micro SD card with the same, and on the top area I've added a 4 GB SD card, and that's showing the same. And let me show you the actual storage, internal storage on the phone. There are quite a few apps that have been installed, and with all these apps also we have about 320 MB of storage. And I would say that if we uninstall all the apps, you will have approximately about roughly about 500 MB, and that's pretty good, I would say. Again, moving on to the memory, as you can see currently it's using about 126 MB of memory, and still we have about 231 MB. So I would say about 350 MB of memory is free with the phone if you kill all the apps. That's pretty nice. Now let me invoke this Angry Birds. Regarding the screen quality, I would say it's just average. It's not the best. It's okay if you watch it like this, but if you tilt it a little bit, then what do you say, the viewing angles are, the picture fades pretty quickly. Again, the speaker is pretty loud, I would say. It's very good. And let's start Angry Birds. Also, I found the screen legibility to be very poor in direct sunlight, even with full brightness. And this is Angry Birds. Again, as you noticed, the touch sensitivity is a little bit not the best, I would say. But it plays simple games like this, Angry Birds, etc. You won't have a problem with the same. Let me get out of this. I have also run the Quadrant Benchmark, and we got a score of 1494, which is to be expected around for a 1 GHz single core phone. And I'll give you a breakdown. The total score is 1494. The CPU got a score of 1689, memory 1599, IO is 1941, 2D is 495, and the 3D is 1744. So for a 1 GHz phone, nothing surprised me. It's what I expected, and that is decent. And let me close the same, and let us run the task killer again. And I'm going to kill all the tasks. And now what we're going to do is we're going to run the Nina Mark 2 test, and this will test the GPU performance on this phone. I ran it earlier also and got a score of about 19.5. Again, this phone is again a budget oriented phone, and I would say the graphics on this phone is average. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. You can play most of the games, but not the high-end 3D games. A score of around 19 or 20 is, I would say, mid-range, and I think so we will get that score again over here. So almost done, and we get a score of 19.2 FPS. As I said, it's average, so you should be able to play most of the simple Android games without any issues on this phone, but not the latest 3D games. Anyways, they require mostly a dual core processor. So let me get out of that. The rear facing camera is a 5 megapixel shooter on the same, and the interface I would say is very Spartan. We do not get a lot of options. We can toggle between static photographs and video directly from here. And let's go to and let's see some of the settings. Again, the focus mode, it says auto, infinity, or macro. We can also adjust the exposure. That's pretty nice. So that's nice. And we can toggle between flash, auto, on, off. And we also have digital zoom, and we can select between the back and the front camera. And let me take a quick shot. We do not get touch to focus functionality, and this is how it took the snap. And now let me force on the flash and see how it takes the similar snap. And that's how it took. This is with the flash, so flash does a very poor job. The camera, I would say, is just average. It does a decent job with natural sunlight and outdoor photographs, but indoors where there is a limited amount of light, the pictures come out to be really grainy and they're not good. The video capability shooting is also not that great. It just takes video in 480p. I'm also going to post a detailed video review of the camera performance. So if you want to know more about that, check out that video. So what do I feel about this phone? This is actually, I would say, a budget Android phone, and the pricing reflects that. And for a budget of about 9,000, it's a good phone. The screen is 3.8 inches. And the resolution is also decent. It's 400 by 800 pixels, and it's a single core phone, and for that the performance, I would say, is what you expect. It's not a blazingly fast Android phone, but does the job. Also, if you have dual SIM, then this is an ideal phone for you because it can accept dual SIMs, but you can definitely just pop in one SIM and use the same. It's a good phone, but not perfect. The screen quality is just average, and sometimes it has a problem registering the touch. It's not every time, but I noticed it once or twice. This is a budget Android phone, but the kind of feature that it offers, if you go for a known brand like, let's say, Samsung, Sony, etc., you won't find a phone for even 16 or 17,000 for the features that you get with this Karbon A9. And for that, it's a decent phone. It has some shortcomings, but I think so overall for 9,000 bucks, this is a very nice Android phone. I hope you found this video review helpful. If you found it helpful, I'll appreciate if you click on the like button given below. That's it for now. This is Ranjit from tech2buzz.com, and I hope to see you in my next video.